Everyone wants to know, is this the week, game week 6, to play your wild card? Well, today I'm going to talk you through how my team went in game week 5. It was a return to form, and what I'm going to do for game week 6. Join me now for Fantasy Premier League, the D Unit's journey. Now, game week 5 was a lot better than game week 4. Let's just be clear about that. The game week 4 was my lowest score of the year. I took a -4 and I got 52 points, which obviously became 48 points. Game week 5, though, I'm loving it, mate. 80 points straight off the bat. Back to form. It's actually the third week in a row. No, not third week. Third week out of 5, I've scored 80 points. It's like my season average, I swear. Look, what do the stats say? Well, I've been very lucky. My score now has gone up to, I think it's, I've gone up to 379 points overall. So that's from the full five game weeks. My game week rank this week was 440,120, so not too bad. The average this week was 58 points, so I was well above the average and had a nice big green tick. And the highest points this week was actually 131, which was interesting. Again, those squads that normally win it every week are the ones that are playing some sort of a chip. So, yeah, it's very rare you get them where it's not a chip being used. But look, that takes me up to 78,913. That's my overall rank. So I'm doing pretty well. First 5 weeks have treated the D unit and myself pretty well. I can't really complain too much. I've been very kissed and very blessed so far in terms of the way that my squad has taken shape. So look, nothing more to be said there, other than the fact that Rude to Forget United is, unfortunately, United are forgetting about Rude because they can't finish like him. And we'll get to that in a little bit. So my 80 points, as you can see there, the team that made up my team. So Henderson, it is his last week in goal for me. And because I'd just run out of patience. And I'm telling you, if Crystal Palace had played any other team other than that profligate Man United team that we saw on the weekend, there is no way that Dean Henderson would have kept a clean sheet. They missed so many bad chances, big chances in that game. And I watched it and I'm a United fan, so I was quite disappointed with the result. But I'm telling you, my fantasy team was happy that Dean Henderson got me 9 points. So it's about time he did something. 5 weeks in, we had to wait for his first return, and it'll be his first and only in my team because that Palace team can't defend, and they're definitely going to be leaking goals this week, even at Everton. So look, if you're a Dean Henderson owner like I was, say thank you very much. 9 points. Thanks for later. See you next week. See you next year, probably, in my team. Look, the defense was probably where I was let down the most. So I only had 3 players blank this week. So 2 of them were Pedro Porro and Robinson. I wasn't like some of the other people that unfortunately had like Gabriel sitting on their bench. Shout out to Darren, who for the second week in a row had Gabriel on his bench. He's now missed out on 21 points in 2 game weeks. I don't know how that feels, but I reckon that's got to be feeling pretty bad. So look, if you're one of those people, you just got to back your premium assets in. If you like, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So in my midfield, so Pedro Porro and Robinson, as I said, Spurs can't defend. I said this on the live stream the other day, and Fulham are in the same boat. So look, we'll get to the wild carding a little bit later on, but those 2 players there are concerns because they don't keep clean sheets, those 2 teams. And that's where you want your points. You want to get defenders that are actually going to hopefully keep more clean sheets than they're not. Otherwise, they need to go. In terms of the midfield, I've been super lucky. I bought in Rodgers last week, and obviously he blanked last week and he got the 2 points. But as I said last week, there's a reason why I picked Rodgers over Onana, and that is because the underlying stats and the eye test was telling me that it was a matter of time before Rodgers did something. And this was a game he did something in. So, look, he got 2 assists, he got bonus points, he's in the team of the week. What more is there to say? He was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Smith Rowe, again, the new bonus point system is really interesting. So they can now revise the bonus points up until an hour after the very final fixture of the weekend. So on Saturday, Morgan Rogers actually had 9 points and Smith Rowe had 9 points, but they've revised it on the Sunday. So Rogers has now gone up to 10 points and Smith Rowe went down to 8. Either way, don't really care. I didn't actually lose any points from that because I had both players. So for me, I was I was okay with it. I would have liked to Smith Rowe to stay there. It would have been one extra point, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Now, so again, really good. Ahmad, unfortunately, as I said, this Manchester United team are very wasteful in front of goal, and Ahmad's spot still isn't quite nailed on, which is disappointing. So, but look, for a 5 million option, the only person I would consider getting rid of Ahmad for is that bloke from Southampton, the guy that scored on the weekend, the 18-year-old. Shit, can't think of his name. But that's who I'd get in for him if I was going to make a change. But I think that Ahmad will be fine. So I'm not really looking at moving him on at the moment. Mo Salah, though, he's the captain. And I did say I liked Trent as captain, and I wish I'd gone Trent as captain. Trent finally got an assist. He kept the clean sheet. He got the bonus points. He had 11 points. If I'd captained Trent, I would have got an extra 5 points. So I could have had 85. Yeah, so look, that was also kind of disappointing. In terms of Mo Salah, though, yeah, what more is there to say other than the fact that he's been disappointing? And again, I watched that game, and the eye test is telling me that Mo Salah is not quite at the races. He's actually in the firing line for me, and I'll get to what I'm potentially going to do later on when I do look at what potentially I would do if I was to play my wild card this week. But I'm going to discuss the merits of that before I show you what I would do with my team. So, Mo Salah, disappointing. Now, the forward line, I'm telling you, this is the reason I paid up money, because Haaland just keeps scoring. Again, he is now up to 71.2% ownership as of current speaking. If you have not got on board and you choose to delay it while everyone is literally playing their wild cards this week, and you delay it too late in the week, you could be having to pay up 15.4 million for this bloke. This Norwegian superstar is just destroying teams. If you have not jumped on board, and you are going to, you need to do it ASAP, because his price will go up again. And then, look, having to find that extra 0.3 in your budget to begin with already would be very disappointing for some teams. So, look, I don't know how you do it. I think you're definitely going to be sacrificing someone else in your team, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. Now, Watkins, he's delivered 2 weeks in a row for me. Fantastic. Since I brought him in, he's got 13, and then he's got the 6 points this week. Shame he didn't get any bonus points, but look, I'm not going to be complaining too much. Now, the really interesting thing here, as you can see on my bench, I've got Diogo Jota. Now, Diogo Jota actually started on my field, and Chris Wood started on my bench. Now, when I saw the Liverpool team, and I saw that Jota was not in the lineup, I was like, oh, he's going to get a 1 point. You know, when like you see your players on the bench and you're like, oh, and they're just going to come on with like 5-10 minutes left, and all of a sudden you're just going to be sit there hoping that they don't come on. Well, I was sitting there hoping he didn't come on, and he didn't come on. So I was like, come on, Woodpecker. And I was like saying to the boys, I was like, Woody Woodpecker's going to get me a goal. And what happens? Woody Woodpecker took the penalty. I didn't realize it was on penalties. I actually saw the penalty getting won against Brighton, and I was like, oh, crap, Morgan Gibbs White's on the field. Isn't he the penalty taker? And I assumed that he was. But it turns out that either it got changed or whatever, but Chris Wood took the penalty and dispatched it beautifully. So I dare say he's going to be on penalties for the foreseeable future. And because he scored that goal, and most of his passes actually went to players as well, he actually ended up with 2 bonus points. So, look, nothing to laugh about there. That's 8 bonus points I got from the bench. Thank you very much to Arnie Slot for not putting on Jota, and for Chris Wood for stepping up to fill the breach. That got me to my 80 points. As I said, again, I left pretty much no points on the bench, so Turner got me nothing, Diogo Jota got me nothing, Foes, whatever you want. He's apparently a popular trading option. I'm not sure about him, because in my team, if I am going to wildcard, he's going. And maybe Harvard Bellis is going as well. But they both got 2 points each. Look, Harvard Bellis went very close to keeping a clean sheet, but unfortunately, as is the problem with Southampton, they just couldn't get it done. Those 2 teams destined to go back to the championship, I think. Let's put it that way. And the other one's going to be a bit of a shootout, I think. So look, I wasn't too unhappy with that. Look, if you've only got 3 players that aren't getting your points in a game week, you're doing pretty well. So, look, could I have expected more? Potentially. It'd be nice if Tottenham could learn to keep a bloody clean sheet. How hard is it, Ange? Ange Ball, stop giving up chances, and same with Fulham. Oh, again, mate. Like, look, you're 3-0 up. I think it was 2-0 up, and then you concede, 3-0, and then you concede a goal. Like, just keep the clean sheet, man. How hard is it? Just shut up shop. Good on you, Fulham, for winning. Hopefully, Robertson continues to. Hopefully, these 2 players continue delivering attacking returns. But when they don't, they're literally a guaranteed 1 or 2 points because of the fact that their teams just don't keep clean sheets. And that's a problem as far as I'm concerned, and where my thoughts are going to in regards to what I want to do with my team post this week. Now, on the right-hand side, you can see my FPL challenge team as well. Now, I did say in the live stream that I was going to get Martinez in for Alisson Becker. Turned out that wasn't the worst call in the world because the other goalkeepers didn't really do much. So he got me 3 points there. And then Garnacho, unfortunately, did nothing. And my God, he should have scored once, maybe if not twice, hit the crossbar. As I said, I don't know how Palace didn't concede in that game. So look, that was unfortunate. I did pick Luis Diaz as the captain after all that, and that worked out really well. Martinez obviously got me some points at the back, even though he got a yellow card. So that was slightly disappointing. But in reality, I could have gone Gabriel. He scored the goal, but like it's all hit and miss really. And then João Pedro up front, I probably should have gone Duran because he just always seems to score when he comes off the bench, right? Mad, absolutely mad. But look. That's actually one of my better weeks in FPL Challenge, so that's saying something. The highest score there was 57 points, and I had a global rank of 211,000 for the week. So all things considered, it's been a little bit on the afterburner for me, but that's definitely something that, you know, I have sort of put to the side, and I'm waiting for all my mates to sit there and go, well, you're actually close to the bottom of our league and that. Well, you know, the truth is that I actually am. So what is there to say about that? Now, on to the wild carding. When is the right time to play your wild card? That's what I want to know. Like last year, I'll tell you what happened to me last year. So I was floating pretty high. So in all the leagues, I think I was like in the top 1,000 in Australia at the time, like halfway up. I had played my wild card on the very last week that you had to play it before you lost it, before the second one came in. So I played it, I think it was either game week 18 or game week 19. And at that point in time, I didn't even really know if I really wanted a wild card because my team, I was pretty happy with my team. I was sitting on top of all my ladders. I was sitting miles in front of everyone. And then the wild card is where it all started to go wrong. I think that I started thinking too much about it, which players are going to do what. I was trying to look too much into advance, the fixtures, and try to play them. And then you get in your head and then you make dumb decisions. And then I was picking stupid captains. And then I somehow finished second. I finished second in the league. I was over 100 points up before I played my first wild card last year. And I am concerned that I potentially could make the same mistake again. Now, that's why I think that sometimes maybe it's better to just play it and just get it over and done with and then know that you're playing with like your normal transfers and stuff. So at this present point in time, I had the free transfer that I rolled over from last game week. So I've actually made 2 transfers already. So I've got rid of Dean Henderson and I bought in David Raya, and we'll get to my team in a second when I show you what I've done. And I've also got rid of, who was the other one I got rid of? Oh, I got rid of Diego Jota because I ain't tolerating squad rotation. And this is a problem. And this is something to keep in mind with the European games and all this other stuff coming in. You've got to be careful and mindful of squad rotation. And you really want to be picking players that are going to be playing 90 minutes each week in, week out, especially in midfield and forward positions, because that means that they're going to give you the highest likelihood of delivering you a return. And if you don't target those players and you're picking like the players from Man City and Liverpool and that in those particular areas, as I've seen this weekend, squad rotation is a thing. So in the Champions League last week, Diaz sat on the bench and Cody Gakpo started. Apparently it was rumoured that, you know, Jota was actually going to start on the weekend, but it might have copped a knock and Darwin Núñez came in instead. Maybe that's why he never made it on the field. We don't actually know. But rumour says that potentially happened. Now, look, Jota's minutes have been a problem for me anyway. He kept on coming off with like 20 minutes left, 30 minutes the week before. He got me 1 point because he walked off the field quicker than Diaz. Oh, mate, that was difficult to watch. And plus, he plays for Liverpool, so if there's a chance to say goodbye to a Liverpool player, I'm saying goodbye. So he's gone. He's gone, and I bought in, I can never say this bloke's name correctly, but Brentford's run's amazing, and Mbembo scored against Tottenham away in a tricky fixture. He's definitely going to be taking all the penalties if they get him, and you expect him to be involved in anything that's going to be an attacking sort of return for Brentford. You would expect him to be in there. And the other bonus is Brentford aren't playing any midweek football other than the Carabao Cup. So you don't have to worry about squad rotation. He's going to be fresh. And as long as he doesn't get injured, you're sweet. So I've made 2 changes already. So I feel like I've upgraded my team straight off the bat in terms of that. And the fixture runs for those 2 teams coming up, fantastic. I think we can argue that Arsenal are definitely a fixture-proof team moving forward. Even their defenders, when they concede goals, like Gabriel, still score them. So, look, what more is there to ask for? They seem to just keep delivering. Their defence is so good. Like, they almost kept City out for the entire 50 minutes plus with 10 men. Like, that says it all, really. That says how good their defence actually is. And David Raya made some amazing saves. I think he ended up with 4 points, even though he conceded twice. Like, how good's that, man? So he's definitely in. He's in for Henderson because I want the clean sheets. And Dean Henderson and that Crystal Palace team are not going to be delivering that anytime soon. So the wild carding, as I said before, do I do it? Like, my team has been really good. So I'm going to flick it over to the other screen now. So for anyone that's listening along on audio or whatever, you're going to have to bear with me. I'm going to be talking through my team, but hopefully it still makes sense audio-wise. And if you are watching along on YouTube, please make sure you take the time right now to like the video and subscribe, because hopefully I'm providing you with some relevant stuff. So this is my team. All right, so I've got it on the screen now. I'm just doing it. This will be like a live stream type of thing from here on in. So as you can see there's the points for the week and where my global rank is, and you can see my team this week. Now, if I go to the transfers thing, I'm just going to quickly go to the league, by the way. If you want to join the league, so you think you can beat the D in it, we've got a bunch of people in. As you can see, I'm currently leading the league as well. I'm 31 points up. I gained an extra 12 points on the second place this week. Shout out to Diesel, Daniel. He got 68 points. He played his wild card last week, which is interesting because not many people played it in game week 5, but he played it in game week 5 and he got 68 points on it. So it just goes to show sometimes you don't need a wild card to get good scores. And this is also my conundrum about playing the wild card. It's just, I don't know. So look, I've made my transfers. As you can see there, Raya has come in for Henderson and Mbembo, as I said there, for Brentford. Now, the main reason why I bought these in now, because prices are going to rise. So overnight, Gabriel has gone up in price to 6.1 as well. And I will make another 2 trades at the minimum this week if I think his price is going to go up. Now, I'm checking regularly to see if it is going up. But as you can see there, I've got 0.1 in the bank. So how am I going to get Gabriel in? Well, my thoughts are that so this is where am I going? So I get those transfers back and I play my wild card, and this is what I would do. So at the moment, as I said, I don't really like the phase poke though. So if I was to play wildcard, Foes or Faze, however you say his name, from Leicester, is apparently predicted to rise in price. Now, I got him when he was 4, and he's already up to 4.1. So if he goes up again, I'll actually get 0.1 mil that I can use to then save and then get another 4 million option in. Now, Vandenberg for Brentford is who I've got my eye on for that 4 million slot. Now, I don't know if it's for Harvard Bellis or for Foes, but my line of thinking is this. Now, Mo Salah, I started with Mo Salah in the early Haaland draft, and it's paid off massive dividends. But the last few weeks, since the first international break, Mo Salah doesn't look the same. And this Liverpool team does not function the same way as Klopp's Liverpool team. And I don't think Salah, from what I can see, is as prevalent to what they're trying to do in these games than what he used to be for, like, Klopp. So that's why I'm thinking that what I want to do, this is what I want to do. So if I bring in Gabriel this week, the change I'm going to be making, this is the change where I'm a little bit unsure of what I want to do, because I'm aware of the fixtures. So at the moment, I'll just bring up Mo Salah's fixtures. So he's got Wolves away this week, and you'd expect him probably to return there. But then I'm not too fussed on him the next 3 weeks. So he's got Palace away. In fairness, they'd probably hammer Palace if they play like they did against United on the weekend. Then they've got Chelsea at home, which I think could be a difficult game. I don't know. It's hard to read in Chelsea still. And then they've got Arsenal away. So, and then they've got Brighton at home, and then Villa at home. Like, these games are not easy games. And then they've got Southampton away, which will be an easy game in game week 12. But then game week 13, they've got Man City. So, look, I just don't... I really love the Liverpool run up until now, because, he's scored some good points this year. So he started off with a bang, 14, 10, 17, but the last 2 weeks have been 2 and 6. And those are the 2 weeks I've captained him. So that's pretty disappointing. I obviously captained him in game week 1 as well. So I did get the bonus there. But yeah, I missed out last week by not going Haaland as captain. Now, what I would do in this team. So I'm just going to get rid of Salah because that's what I would do. That all of a sudden gives me 12.7 in the bank. So I'm just going to pull up the midfielders here. And if I go to the midfielders, who do I like? So look, Luis Diaz isn't... The only problem is I just think Liverpool got so much rotation in him. Arnie Slot looks like he's a rotator. And that is why I'm slightly put off by... Because logically, the idea would be I'd get rid of Salah, I bring in Luis Diaz. I now have... I'll just add him to show you. I have 4.8 million in my budget. Now, the reason why I say this is such a good thing, because then I can go here. So if I was to do that, I would then go down here and get rid of Harvard Bellis. And in my defense, I'm going to bring in, I'm definitely going to bring in Gabriel. So I've still got 2.7 mil in the bank. From there, look, Pedro Porro, I just think he's, I don't know what to say about him. So the other thing is like, do I bring in, because originally I was thinking instead of Diaz, I'd bring in Saka. But that Arsenal defense is that good. I actually want to bring in an extra Arsenal defender. So my line of thinking is that you could bring in... Now, it looks like... so I reckon I'd get rid of Pedro Porro. Only reason because of the fact I just don't think he, keeps enough clean sheets, and that's a problem for me moving forward. Now, if I look at the defenders, the next best defender I would think you would go for here is you probably have to go Saliba. Now, that's the main reason why I'm saying that. Now, I wonder when I did like on the weekend was Calafiori. Now, he's slightly further down the pecking order. In fact, I have to really go... Oh, yeah, there we go. So he's dropped 0.2 in price, but he started. So wouldn't be a bad shout. That would give me 3 Arsenal players to trip up on the Arsenal, and then I'd still be able to bring in like someone else. Now, the other good thing about culling Jota from this team means it opens up a Liverpool slot as well. Obviously, I've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, and in this way, I actually think that the 2.4 million I'd do there, I would get rid of Foes, and I would actually bring in another Arsenal defender. Another Liverpool defender. What am I about? So I've already got a trip up on Arsenal. So I would actually go in and bring in probably Robertson here and add him in as well. So look, that would leave me with 0.4 in the bank. The only problem then is obviously you've got... And the other change I would probably make then, because I quite like Smith Rowe, he's gone up in price again. Rodgers has gone up in price again, which is why he's now 5.1 on my team. The other change I would potentially do is I would get rid of Ahmad because I've got 5.4 right. And I did say about this in the live stream, but Dwight McNeil costs 5.4 and that would give me a full team. Those would be the trades I would do. If I was to play the wild card this week, those would be the trades I would make. So I've already got Raya in for Henderson and I've already got Mbeumo in for Jota. But then potentially I would change my entire defence pretty much. So I'd get Gabriel, Calafiori and Robertson all in. And obviously Foes, Pedro Porro and Harwood Bellis out. And then I would bring in McNeil for Ahmad. And then I've got a really complete team. Like, depending on the day, I could actually play my bench boost, other than Turner and goal, who's not going to get me any points. The rest are all going to get me points. Like, it looks really good. I can, then depending on the game week, I could actually play five-player defense. But all these players are capable of scoring as well, depending on the fixtures, right? So that's what you've got to pay attention to when you're doing or creating or looking to create a wildcard team. How can I create an even team and keep the run going? Like, at the moment, I'm sitting pretty. Like, top 79,000 teams worldwide. That's pretty good for fantasy, right? But these are the things you've got to look at. Now, look, and the reason why, if you're going to play the wild card, you should always play it early in the game week to make the most of the changes in price. Now, the main reason why I haven't done anything yet is because I'm not sure if I want to. So I could be quite happy with the team I've got this week. So I've obviously got Raya in and Mbeumo in, and I think that those two trades in particular are going to make me points straight off the bat. And that's without me using a transfer. Now, the other options I could do, and as I said, I really want to bring in Gabriel, and I could just alleviate some of these trades. So if I go back to, hold on, where's the reset button? I should really take a photo of that because I really like that lineup I've just created. FYI, how good is it? So I'm just going to quickly do that while I'm paying attention, just for my own future reference. But look, that's what I would do at this present point in time. If I was wildcarding, it would look very similar to that. I don't think there's anything else I would do, and that's how it would go. Now, I'm just going to quickly see if I can reset this so I can... Oh, there we go, reset. So in the event that I don't do that, and this is the other option. So I could just take a -8 this week. Now, this is all going to depend 100% on whether Gabriel's price looks like it's going to go up again. Because if it is, I want to make sure I get him in to dodge that price increase. So in the event that he does go up in price, these are the two trades I'll be doing. I'll be getting rid of Mo Salah and I'll be getting rid of Harvey Bellis. Now, that will give me -8. So the defenders I would bring in, as I said, I'll be definitely bringing in Gabriel. He is definitely the pick of the Arsenal defenders. He's got the most threat from set pieces, and that means the highest chance of getting goals. Like, Arsenal's defence don't actually create that many assists. Last year it was Ben White, but Ben White didn't even start this game, so who knows what's going on there. Maybe Arteta likes Timber more than White, I'm not sure. And then obviously in the midfield, this is the bit where I'm struggling with. So if I was just to make the two trades this week, now, the reason why I bought in Diaz is because I still got that option into the Liverpool team. Still got that Liverpool threat in the event that he actually starts, which hopefully he does. Or I can look somewhere else. And that's the key. Like, where else do you look if you don't get him in? Now, there's a number of good options. I did look at Jared Bowen, but because he's got a nice fixture run sort of coming up. Brentford away, Ipswich at home. They look pretty good. But I tell you what, West Ham looked absolutely dog tier on the weekend. They were abysmal against Chelsea. They were no good. Then you keep looking down the list and, like, who else do you pick? Like, Eze has drastically underperformed. He's no longer on penalties. I don't think he's a good option, and I don't like their run of fixtures. They've got Everton away this week, which he could be all right in, to be fair. But then they've got Liverpool at home. And then, it's a bit hit and miss after that. I just don't know. I'd rather their fixtures in game week 18. Now, this is the other reason why I think holding the wild card is really good, because later on, there is a turn of fixtures again around game week 14, game week 18, and that's what you got to think about. Like, I know that Andy from Let's Talk FPL, he's doing his wild card this week for reasons why, and he's talked about keeping Bruno Fernandes in the team. I actually think he's onto something there. Bruno Fernandes is definitely someone I want to do. Now, on my thing here, I've said the players I want in. So I've already got Mbembo in, and Diaz is one where I'm thinking about. Now, I'm not having Diaz, Son, and Palmer, but I want one of them. So I can afford to get one of them by getting rid of Salah, because I think that's definitely a play. Now, I just want to pull up Son's fixtures. So this is a reason why I like Son. Look, he's got Man United away. You never know what you're going to get versus them. Then you got Brighton, West Ham, Crystal Palace, Villa, Ipswich. They've only got Man City in between now and game week 17 that makes you think, oh, he's not going to get any points there. And look, he got 2 assists on the weekend. He was really good. He was a bit like Morgan Rogers. He was there. And his history this week has been not too bad. So he's been very hit and miss. So in game weeks 1, 3, and 4, he's blanked. But then in game week 2, he scored 16 points, albeit against Everton, and 10 points this game week against Brentford. So actually, I don't know if I really like those returns now that I'm looking more into. I'm talking myself out of that trade, currently speaking. Now, if we look at Palmer, another one that I said here, he scored on the weekend, and this is his returns to the season. So he's gone 2 points. Then he had that massive week against Wolves away, 17 points, which seems to be the aberration more than the normal compared to last year. Then he had 6 points against Palace, 3 against Bournemouth, and then 8 against West Ham where he scored. But he just doesn't look the same player as he did last year in this system under Maresca. And that's the caveat I've got on it. And I don't really rate Chelsea's fixtures for the next 6 weeks either. So they've got Brighton at home, which should be a difficult game. They've got Nottingham Forest at home, who do defend rather well. And I'd imagine they're going to probably make it difficult for Chelsea to break them down. A bit like they did against Brighton, even though they conceded twice. But things to take into account. Then they've got Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, and Arsenal. That's why I don't like Cole Palmer at the moment. And whereas Saka, now, as I said before, this means that I couldn't bring in an extra Arsenal defender, which is what I really want to do, because I think there's more points to be had there in the defence, and I can change my team around etc., etc. But if we look at Saka, his next 3 games look amazing for like in terms of an attacking perspective. Now, I could swap it around and bring in Saka for Salah, so that way I could bring in Gabriel, and that would triple me up on Arsenal. But just means then I would save potentially 2 transfers for 2 weeks' time, where I could then get rid of Saka for like a Diaz, and then bring in an extra Arsenal defender and like a double trade, and then keep that money in the bank. I'm not sure if that's the right way of doing it. I like to make my money work and make my team go up in value. So look, my team has, I don't think I've actually only copped the 1 price drop on any of my players this year, and that was Kulusevski when he dropped 0.1 to 6.4, but I got rid of him before he became 6.3. That's the only loss I've incurred this year in fantasy. So I've been very quick to move if I think a player is going to go down in price. But I also want to make sure that I'm catching these price rises before they come in, so that way I can make advantage of it. My team becomes more valuable. Makes it easier for me to trade later on when I need to. But look, Saka, amazing next 3 fixtures. Leicester at home, Southampton at home, Bournemouth away. All 3 really good fixtures. Then he's got 3 quite difficult fixtures where you might not expect him to return, and this is where you probably transfer him out. Game week 9, home to Liverpool. Game week 10, away to Newcastle. Game week 11, away to Chelsea. And then it opens back up again for Arsenal after that. So that's why I like the Arsenal defence. But I think it could be a play, particularly in this particular week where I do that. Now, so just leave it in there. So if I did do that trade, I would get in my triple Arsenal. So I would have Gabriel and Saka, and I'd have 0.6 million in the bank for future trades. Now, the other players I did want to talk about. Now, I actually really like Haaland and Watkins, and I don't mind paying up for Watkins. Like he's now, I'm hoping he goes up to 9.1 and actually makes me 0.1. And he's got Ipswich this week, so that looks like another really juicy fixture. And then, they've got pretty good fixtures between now and when they've got Spurs and Liverpool in game week 10 and 11, and then Chelsea in game week 13. So look, I think the Villa fixtures for the next few weeks are really good, and I think he will return quite a few more goals and points, hopefully, in that space of time. So yeah, look, I feel the only person I'd be looking at getting rid of if I was wildcarding would be Wood. Now, Chris Wood has defied what I thought I was going to get from him. I'm being honest. I thought maybe he'd get me 1 goal in 5 weeks, and I would hopefully have him on the field in the 1 game that he did that. But I've actually made quite a few points. Chris Wood's up to 29 points in total, and I have had him on the field when he has scored in every one of those games. So he's scored against Wolves, Bournemouth, and Brighton, and I had him on field in all those games. Now, the only games that I didn't have him on field were obviously Liverpool. He sat on the bench, and the only one he blanked me for was the Southampton one, where I thought, surely they'll beat Southampton and he'll get a goal, but he only got me 1 point in that game. So Chris Wood looks really good. Nottingham Forest fixtures, other than Chelsea away next week, are looking pretty good. They've got a nice little run there up until game week 12 to 14, where they've got Arsenal and Man City in 2 of those 3 game weeks. So look, Nottingham Forest is definitely a place you could go. And I know a lot of people are going Aina in defence as well. And there's definitely a valid point to be had from looking at that particular. But look, that's what I would do. I'm actually willing to cop a -8 this week in order to keep my wild card. I don't know if it's a good play. Let me know if you think it's a good play. Do I take on the -8? Now, the only reason why I sit there and look at the -8 and stuff, because like we also have a head-to-head league. Now, I took a -4 in game week 4, one versus Alan, who will be joining me later in the week for our normal weekly show. And he played his wild card, and I beat him with a -4. Now, there's no guarantee I could do that again this week. So week 5, I believe, versus this bloke here, this speed racer's Grace Patrick doesn't know what he's doing. I think he thinks he can make like 10 trades every week and not press wild card. So, yeah, that's why he's got a score of 12. Not because his team actually scored 12. I think if we put up there, his team scored 40, but he made that many trades that his score was pretty irrelevant. But look, game week 6, I've got Bob. Now, Bob's team is pretty good. Now, I'm just going to pull up. He's sitting 3rd in the league. I don't know why it's not showing his team. It's definitely not showing his team. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but we'll just quickly go to his actual team in here. So bear with me while I'm playing around here. So Bob's team here is Dyke Ball. He got 65 points this week. Now, I don't know if he's wildcarding or not. Maybe I should send him a message and see, but he had Haaland as captain. Look, that team there, I don't know if I can actually take a -8 and beat him this week. So it's either I take the -8 and I'm playing the long game and I'm hoping that, eventually that means I'm going to be able to save my wild card for later in the season and take that -8 this week and try and beat him. Or do I just hold off this week and just do the 2 trades I've done, but then run the risk of Gabriel going up in price and maybe Saka going up in price as well? Let me know what you guys would do, because I'm in a quandary whether to play the wild card and bring in that team I just put together on paper for you all. Hopefully that provides some insight if you're wild carding this week, with some ideas about players, how I think they'll go, what fixtures they've got, the positioning and how they're defending and all this, and how it all links in. And I think you've definitely got to go with a goalkeeper that's cheap in that second spot. Just go with the top goalkeeper and just roll a 4 mil in there. Raya's never going to get rotated in the league, so you don't really have to worry about that. But can I take a -8 and beat that team? Let me know, because I want to know. Because if I can, I'm doing it. I'll take the -8 and roll him on it. So let me know if you reckon I can get away with it, or if I should play my wild card. I am really intrigued to know. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that's been insightful and given you some idea about how to use your wild card and hopefully set you up for game week 6. I'll be back later in the week with Alan doing our usual show, so please make sure you join him for that. And if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, because we do try to provide you some really good content. Thanks for watching. That is the D Unit and Fantasy Premier League, the D Unit's journey out.